Most people think to get out in the water, you've got to be pretty outdoorsy or a bit of a water baby. It's really not the case. When we first came here, obviously the tender that we tendered for was for paddleboarding and kayaking. However, once we were on site, so many people were asking us for more accessible paddle sport. And I'll be honest, we'd never really done rowing before internally. We'd operated it on behalf of Blenheim Palace and another site. I'd never really considered rowing as an activity that LiveFree Adventures done. But time and time again, people kept asking for more accessible paddle sport. And then by chance, I was overlooking on the history boards at the side of the reservoir, and I saw that back around 120 years ago, that they used to have rowboats on the reservoir. And that was what initially inspired me. So I thought, actually, historically, we could bring it back to what it formerly was. So with a little bit more research into the boats that were here and the history of the site, we realised that we weren't going to be able to get the same boats again, which is what I was aiming for. But what we would be able to get is basically almost some sister or some cousin boats from a company called the Steamer Brothers in Oxford. So they're a very famous family that have been making boats that people go on, tourists that is, in Oxford for over 100 years. So I reached out to them and they sold us these beautiful 16-foot skiffs, and granted they need a little bit of maintenance, but historically there's nothing to work them about. So these are basically the cousins or the sisters of, cousins we'll go with, of the boats that used to be here. So we went up to Oxford and we got the 5 boats. 4 of them have only ever been on the water, 1 of them we've never managed to get around. So on that note, if you're into fixing boats, then do let us know, because the skills are slightly beyond us. But either way, back to what we were saying originally, is that people wanted these more accessible paddle sports, and we got the rowboats, and it's wonderful because it truly is a family activity. Like often when people go paddleboarding or kayaking, it's certain members of the family that have been pushing for it, whereas in the rowboats there's no chance of getting wet. Everyone can be together, people are facing one another, you can get 5 people into the craft. And because of our location and us being on a reservoir, basically got a safety net all around us, so people can't go very far. The worst that can happen is they get blown down to the other end of the reservoir, but because we're a nice company, we just offer people to walk back to us and we'll go and fetch their craft. So since we've implemented this here, we just have all manners of people that I'd have never anticipated going on the water. And as someone that's set up an outdoor adventure company so that people get outdoors, well, historically it wouldn't have rung true to me that we should. One second, there's some customers. Girls, how you getting on? You're not gonna do this to me again, are you? Oh, very nice, very nice. So, yeah, as somebody that historically got an outdoor activity and adventure business going because I wanted people to access the outdoors, it wouldn't have necessarily rung true to me that rowing would have been one of those activities. But if of all the activities that we've implemented so far at Swiss, this has been, I think, one of the most popular. But yet somehow people don't know that we're here yet. So if you didn't already know, Swiss Valley is the only place in Carmarthenshire where you can hire a rowboat. So whether you're a local, whether you're on holiday, whether you're a tourist for the day, then come on down to Swiss Valley Reservoir, because this is the only place you can hire a boat. And not only can you hire a boat, we're talking a 100-year-old design made by the Salter brothers. And what's beautiful is that people also, they often think that they're going to need assistance in them. Whereas, as you can see, it is as simple as just pull towards you. We just run singular circles of motions, occasionally running one hand at a time, just to adjust course. And you're able to inverse. There's no getting stressed or sweaty. It's not like on a paddle board. where you've got to do loads of effort to keep swapping around. It's just nice and simple. Occasionally, like now where I'm riding solo, a little brief look over the shoulder. There. Anyway, back to the let's talk about the benefits of coming on the water at Swiss Valley. So first things first, we have two pontoons. One of them is accessible, so it's got a DDA approved ramp the whole way down. And we've got a smaller pontoon that's slightly closer to the building, so everybody can get on the craft. With the rowboats, obviously there is a step down off the pontoon. However, all staff here are trained to assist in whatever way is appropriate. So if you want to piggyback, if you want a hand, whether you need a slide, whether you need a step, staff here are on hand to assist. Around the reservoir, we have kingfisher, we have otter, we have great crested grebe, we have red kites, we have buzzards, we have lots of wrens, the standard blue tips, robins, etc. But we've got loads of bird life here. Occasionally you get a dog like at the moment, there's a lot of barking. So does any of you have any questions about rowing, either in general or at Swiss Valley? I'm more than happily answer them for you. In terms of the history of the site, I'm testing myself a little bit here, but I believe it was 1878 that the reservoir was constructed as drinking water for the town of Kneffley. And now it is only used as a backup for Trostre Steelworks. So we still get a lot of people tell us that this is the drinking water for the town, but it's really not anymore. Just as a backup for Trostre Steelworks in case their water supply goes down. I'm not quite sure where they get their water from, but I do know that this is the backup. The dam, if you look down at the bottom of the dam, people often ask how deep the reservoir is. Well, it's 18.5 metres, and it's only silted up by half a metre in over 100 years. However, if you look down at the stream, down at the bottom of the dam, that's how deep the reservoir is. And then if you look over as you're looking down the dam, to the left-hand side, what we'd call it in the paddling world, river left, then you'll see the original quarry where they quarried the stone from for the dam. Anyway, the paddle talk is over because we're arriving back at base.